Hi everybody, this is Leilani. Welcome back to my channel, and here I talk about all things you need to know right now, pretty much. And today I first want to give a little breakdown, and I mentioned this in prior videos. If you're new around here, I go from personal experiences to messages led by Holy Spirit to, just things that I wish somebody would have told me when I was going through the motions. And today I want to talk about a little bit of my journey and then a transition into what that may look like for you right now. So, in part of my journey, in regards to showing up and speaking and really just getting over fears of being seen and caring what people think was not an overnight process. And a lot of times when we go online and we see people showing up, we get to see, most of the time we get to see the end product. We get to see after the storm, right? And while I have gone and overcome through very stormy seasons, I wouldn't say that I'm, completely in the clear right now. There's things that I'm still moving through, and there's things that I'm actively choosing to just stay in gratitude and stay in just obedience and staying in a place of honestly optimism, because we have a choice every single day of how we want to live out our lives. And if if I choose to live my life through the things that have disappointed me, if I choose to live my life through the things that were told to me that were either putting me down or dismissing me or just honestly straight up rude, or if I choose to look at life through the doors that were closed, or if I choose to look at life through the moments where I didn't know, if I was going to be here the next day. I didn't know where I was going to go. Like all these things, if I choose to live my life that way, or see life through those lens, through those moments, then I wouldn't be showing up right now. I wouldn't be able to be present with my child. I wouldn't be able to, even have the capacity to engage in conversations with people where honestly sometimes there's a lot more listening going on, and that's just a natural trait. But there's a lot of things that go into the ways that we show up, and people might not even see it. People do not see it because you only see the end result. And part of what I want to share with you guys today is that it can be messy. It can be messy, and sometimes it's actually really nice to just go through the things and having it between you and God. And that's what I learned when I was in some of the really heaviest points in time, where literally no one knew. Like not even family, not even friends, nobody. Literally no one. It was literally me and God. And I'm not saying, I don't recommend that to everybody. It's not everyone's cup of tea to I guess just experience that in what can be isolation and what can be just you know, it could feel, for lack of a better word, it could feel very testy to really go straight to God. And I'm not going to be somebody and lie to you and say that this excuse my language, that this shit is easy. I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to say that. And the ways of the world and the ways in which you get these quick promises and these quick fixes and these quick and instant gratifications of, people selling you things that, you're going to be an instant millionaire, or you're going to, solve whatever. And this, like, those people went through their own set of stuff. They had to go through their own set of stuff to get to that point. So, all this to say, like, the way I show up isn't because I just one day decided, oh, like, this is fun. Like, I would love to show up more in that way, because I believe that there is a lot of value in just doing things for fun, like do things for the fun of it. And that's something that I would love to do more of, because a lot of times, and I would say, just growing up fast in a way of, like, didn't have that experience of, I would say, really appreciating the youthfulness and the, just like the act of doing, just to do it. Like, just doing it. And sometimes that could be nice. Sometimes that can be nice to just do it, right? Not really because of X, Y, and Z, and C, and A, and all those things. But, I'm sharing this because I know that there's other people out there that maybe have had some difficulty in seeing the joyful aspects of life, or even, and I'm really being compassionate in the way that I say this, because if I were to tell myself this 4 or 5 years ago, I probably would have reacted a very different way. But what I've learned thus far is that sometimes when you go through heavy things, sometimes when you go through moments, seasons, just what can feel like constant struggle, mental, physical, spiritual, whatever, there can be parts of us that get so used to it, that get so, really, you develop a relationship, it becomes so familiar to you that we start to identify with our pain, and we start to identify with our strife, we start to identify with our struggle. And I had to look at that right in the eyes, and I had to realize that while while yes, there were moments where probably wouldn't want to be in, you know? Yes, there were moments where I'm like, I can't really even say that because they wouldn't even get it. They just wouldn't. Yes, there were moments where I'm like, is this really my life? Could I have a different, you know what I mean? Yeah, there were moments like that. And and if I solely identified from that perspective, honestly, I would be a pretty unhappy person right now. I'd be a pretty unhappy person. And there was a point in time where I was honestly pretty pessimistic. I was pretty pessimistic because I I was in the depths of it, but I was bitter about it. I was passive aggressive about it. Like I would have some you know, it'll come out because I wasn't fully first I wasn't fully allowing myself to express, and second, I was all I saw and all I felt and all I acknowledged was the struggle. So simultaneously, that when your mindset when your mind is focused on that, part of it is identifying so much with the self. It's identifying with the self because we can get focused on, well, how am I feeling? Well, what, you know, why is this happening to me? And I want to do better and I want more and whatever. It's commonly associated with the I. Usually when we are looking into the world or looking towards the world or just identifying from a place of struggle, when we solely identify from that, it is because of the focus on the self. And this isn't a bad thing. I want to make it very clear. It's not bad to focus on yourself, right? Like we need that. We need that. Simultaneously, we live in a world. We live in a planet where there are people, right? There are connections, there are relationships. And believe it or not, everything that you do has an effect on another person, whether directly or indirectly. So when we can step out of that and we can say, okay, if the way that I choose to show up is affecting another person, then how am I going to show up? And I had to come to terms with that. I had to ask myself, and I had to really look at the parts of me that I was like, are we are we are we doing this? Do we really want to keep going with this? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that doesn't mean that I don't get annoyed. That doesn't mean that I don't, you know, get upset. That doesn't mean that I don't get frustrated or just maybe want to cuss somebody out sometimes. Like that doesn't mean any of that. I'm human. I'm human, but when we're consciously choosing better for ourselves, when we're consciously choosing to live a life where we can stay in gratitude, okay? Because staying in gratitude is a choice. It comes with a level of discipline. It comes with a level of will. It comes with a level of just doing it. Just doing it. Just doing it. Because Just like anything else. And I think, if I'm sorry if I'm going off on a tangent, you guys, but I know I need to say this. Anything that you see online, anything that you see where you're like, oh, how is this person doing that? Like, I want to do that, or I want my life to be that way, or blah, 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 blah. It took a lot more than what you see for them to get to where they're at. So don't buy into the instant gratifications. Don't buy into the quick sells, because it's a lie. It's a lie. And while, yes, maybe you can streamline a few things, maybe you can be more efficient in some things rather than going through the whole nine. Maybe you just, you know, it's like, instead of taking every single step, maybe you could skip 2 or 3 steps along the way. Maybe you can do it. But if you also have bad coordination, you can also trip and fall down the stairs. Right? Or maybe if you're trying to skip too many steps, it's actually going to be even more uncomfortable, or you won't physically be able to do it because it's too much of a gap for you to take right now. So that's why a lot of times we might just take the step by step by step. Ultimately, it is your choice, but if you take the elevator, this reference just came to my mind. Who would you think would be more equipped for endurance? Let's say, and I've said this in a previous video, if you saw it, watch it again. If you didn't, go find it. But if you are training for a marathon, if you are training for 26.2 miles to run, right? Who would you say that is training for this marathon would have the better endurance? The person that always takes the elevator, or the person that always takes the stairs? And sometimes you could take both. I don't know. Sometimes you could take both, and you can get your own original custom made training in there. My point being my point being is that there's always going to be things or just aspects of the journey that we're not going to like. Straight up, we're not gonna like it, and we get to choose how we show up, how we react, how we tell our story. We get to choose. So, with that, I want to leave you with, how are you choosing to show up? Based on the things that you've gone through, based on who you are and where you are right now, how are you choosing to show up? How are you choosing to tell your story? And I say this with love, because I say all my videos with love, because I wish somebody would have told me this when I was going through something. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to this channel, like, comment, share. I am also on Instagram at iam.leilani. I'm on Threads, And I'm on Substack, and there I send weekly newsletters, and I would really love to just see more of y'all on there as well, because I actually get to write and, more in detail of these things. But anyways, see you on the next episode.